My first time buying condoms, at age 16, I went to the pharmacy. The hot cashier at the counter could see that I was new at it and gave me the pack asking if I knew how to use one. I said, "No, it's my first time." She took one out, put it on her thumb, and told me to make sure it was on tight. I still looked confused. She looked around the store to see if it was empty, and it was. "Just a minute," she said, and locked the door. She led me to the back room, took off her shirt and bra. "You like these?" I could only nod my head. She said to put the condom on. As I was putting it on, she dropped her skirt, removed her panties and laid down. "Come on," she said, "we don't have much time." So I climbed on her. It was so amazing that I couldn't hold back, and kapow, I was done in 2 minutes. She looked at me concerned and asked, "Did you put the condom on?" I said I sure did, and held up my thumb to show her. I've told this story before, but I had an anthro teacher in college who had a government job back home in India just after he finished his first degree. Their job was to go to these super remote villages with no power or running water and, among other things, teach the men to use condoms to prevent disease and unwanted pregnancy. Well, the way they did this was to unroll the condom on a wooden dowel just to show the proper steps. Well, about a year after he started the job, he had the opportunity to revisit one of the first villages they worked in when he started. As soon as he entered the village with his team, he was accosted by a furious man. The man told him he had done everything he was told and his wife still got pregnant with a child they couldn't afford. When he tried explaining that condoms aren't 100% effective even when used correctly, the man insisted he come to his hut and see that he was doing it right. Confused and a little concerned, he followed the man into his hut, where the man gestured angrily to one wall. There, proudly displayed, was a dried-up condom stretched over a stick. I've heard this exact story about the remote villages in my country. They would put the condoms on their brooms instead of dicks. That's why they had to be really specific about these things. It kinda makes sense though, if you don't know the science behind it. Do it by rote memorization. It's funny, but it's also a great example of why it's important to understand how things work, not just that they do work. There was a study I came across once that compared learning behavior between apes and human children. They were all individually instructed on how to get a treat from a contraption, which included several steps like banging a stick through a hole in the top and pulling a lever at the end. They then replaced it with a see-through version of the contraption so that everyone could see that banging the stick actually did nothing at all, as it wasn't connected to anything. The apes quickly realized that they could skip straight to just pulling the lever and did so. The human children kept going through all of the steps exactly as they had been taught. Humans are very good at exactly copying complex behaviors. But that also means that we are very good at exactly copying complex behaviors. Being able to closely mimic a behavior, even if you don't understand precisely why you are doing it, can be very advantageous in certain circumstances, less so in others. This happens all the time with many different ideas. Let's fix the trash problem by giving everyone trash cans. Turns out a large waterproof storage device is a valuable tool. So they used them to store fuel and got sick from the fumes. Teaching women to make jewelry to sell, they often have no one to buy it in their village and quickly take a price that is a small fraction of the production cost. Thousands of rural farmers in India have never seen a scythe and cut grain with small hand tools. Helping people who don't share your knowledge, environment or skills can be hard. We just assume people understand ideas without any context. I've always hated that condoms aren't 100% effective even when used correctly explanation. Because it makes people think sperm goes through condoms or something if they don't break, don't have a hole in them, are the right size, and you don't gush so much cm that it pours out around the base of the condom. They're 100% effective. Sperm and viruses cannot move through latex. It is an impermeable membrane to them. This is an urban legend of sorts, told as a joke in every intro to anthro class. You got duped. I had a brother in the army, and someone in his crew had to teach things to villagers similar to this. Only the opposite villager was furious his wife couldn't get pregnant. They were FG all the time with no success. Turns out they'd been doing AL forever because no one taught either of them anything about sex, and they had to figure it out on their own. This is like a super remote village in Afghanistan though. And now your girlfriend hates you because you had a kid with some random hoe you banged at a grocery store. When I first saw it a few weeks ago, I genuinely liked this joke, but now it gets reposted nearly every day to the point it's not even funny anymore. And it was the mailman. The hot cashier was the bus driver. And the cashier pulled off a mask. I'm the bus driver. It's Chris Farley. What kind of weird Billy Madison fan FIC did I just walk into? Then he finds out the pharmacist's daughter is his girlfriend, the bus driver. You must be a virgin. Girls can tell instantly if you've put it on or not. Hint, it feels different. Even for them. If girls are so good at that, then why does my wife keep asking me if it's in yet, Mr. Smarty Pants? Or the cashier could ask if you want a bag with your condoms. Then you answer no. Fortunately, she isn't that ugly. I me while thinking about this joke. No kidding, I couldn't tell if I was reading a joke or some kind of erotica roleplay. Either way, it got the job done. Here's your condoms. That'll be $10 plus tax. I thought they just rolled on. You just have to read it because the fantasy of this happening to yourself at the age of 16 is just so freaking awesome. I can now say I'm old enough here to witness a repost. I have seen it with my own 2 eyes. I'm no longer a repost virgin. Who wears a skirt to work when you're a cashier at a pharmacy? PSH, this is so unrealistic. My dad had a similar joke, and NBSP, there is a vet teaching vet students. Here is a lesson, it's about focusing. The vet said he put his finger on a cow's BE and licked it, and said, now your turn, taste it or you will fail your exam. The students did what he said. They licked it. The vet said, you failed. I used my middle finger for the BT and sucked my index finger. You did not focus. She took one out, put it on her thumb, and told me to make sure it was on tight. I still looked confused. She looked around the store to see if it was empty, and it was just a minute, she said, and locked the door. She led me to the back room, took off her shirt and bra. You like these? I could only nod my head. She said to put the condom on. As I was putting it on, she dropped her skirt, removed her panties and laid down. Come on, she said, we don't have much time. So I climbed on her. It was so amazing that I couldn't hold back, and kapow, I was done in 2 minutes. She looked at me concerned and asked, did you put the condom on? I said I sure did, and took of my 16-year-old costume and said, I'm the bus driver. That wasn't a joke, that was softcore PN. Instructions weren't clear enough. Got DK stuck in a toaster. Dad, how did you and mommy meet? Well, son, I put the glove on the wrong finger. Now we need a thumbs up emoji with a condom around the thumb. For situations where you tell someone, good job, you done FD up good. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification. See you on another video. Bye.